y'all, and welcome to Skyrim Scripting. In this episode, we're going to be creating a small utility mod that folks can use to interact with the Skyrim console. You know that thing when you hit the tilde key and it kind of goes whoop, and then you type in some commands and then it goes away? We're going to make a utility mod to make it easy for other mod authors to really do whatever they want with that. Edit the text inside of it, trigger it to come up, go down, whatever. I just recently finished recording a Twitch stream where we essentially made version 2 of my custom console commands. The very first version that I released a couple weeks ago is really janky. It's the first mod that I released, and the way that I did it is really gnarly. So I really liked this stream, so I'm uploading it right now, so you should be able to find it here as like creating custom console commands, blah, 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 blah. Look in the same playlist that this video is inside of, which I'll hopefully include a link to, and you should be able to find this because it's really, really fun, and we're going to be building on top of what we did, including actually going in and editing the console itself that Skyrim provides. So like this is the actual Flash file that defines like the little entry prompt and like where all the history goes and where you are currently selected. The form ID of whatever you like click on goes. This is it, and we went in and we edited the code and we kind of made it our own. Now in this episode, the utility mod that we're going to make will not rely on a customized console. It's going to work with the base vanilla one, but it will be useful in other mods like the custom console commands mod, which will make use of this utility mod. So I'm going to call this something like ConsoleHelper, maybe, because ConsoleUtil is like one of the most popular commands like that there is. It's probably here somewhere. Maybe because it's all one word, you need to type in ConsoleUtil. There it is, ConsoleUtil. It's like super duper 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 popular and useful, and we're going to actually be able to do a lot of the things that this does, but without the SKSE C++ plugin. Pros and cons to that: I just don't know how to do C++ yet, and that's fine. So let's make a mod. So we're actually not going to start by making a plugin though, because we're just going to write scripts. So let's make a mod that will call our helper mod. Let's just make a mod that, I don't know, when the game loads, will like do some stuff with the console. Maybe when we cast a spell. I don't know. Let's make a mod. Let's call it like some mod. My mod, because I don't know what it's going to do. My mod, and I'm going to configure my creation kit to actually save all of its files into my mod. But as always, you can run creation kit however you want to. You do you. And don't forget to use SSE creation kit fixes, or like you'll just hate your existence when using creation kit. It's just so slow without SSE creation kit fixes. So we're just going to save this as my mod. And then what do we want? I want a player script so that we can have a player script. I want a player script, and I want a fire and forget spell. Let's do those things. Let's make the spell real quick. We'll start with the effect because I always forget to map the effect to the spell. Ooh, there's a car with some big bass out there. I'm going to pause so I can drink my tea. Tea. Okay, let's keep going. I'm taking up a lot of space, so let me go small and in the corner. Ready? Boo! Alright, there you go. We'll call this my mod, I don't know, whatever, effect, and just my mod. It'll be a fire and forget, and it'll have a skill so that we can cast it, and that's it. We'll reopen it, we'll add a script. We've done this so many times. If you haven't, then you should see my beginner series. We're going to call this my mod effect script. May or may not end up using this, but I think we may. Let's add the spell so that we can actually give this to the player, and we'll use the quest alias to give it to the player. So spell, my mod, spell, fire and forget, add the effect. Boop, come on, boop, boop, boop. Awesome sauce, awesome sauce. Let's make a character quest. My mod quest. Gotta close it and then open it. Let me just save. And then we'll add a new reference alias, player ref. Specific reference, select forced reference. We'll choose any so it populates the player. Make a script in a second. Let's go ahead and add that spell as an alias so that the player starts with it. And then let's add a script and we'll call it my mod player script, and it will extend a reference alias. Sweet. Sweet, 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 sweet. And do I need to tell you what you're going to do? I mean, you're going to go here, you're going to go here, you're going to go into this little box for the player script, and you're going to Control S, and you're going to save. And yeah, this is where we're going to put most of the code. I am going to make a second mod, which will just be scripts. So let me go to Mod Organizer 2. I have to close CK, but remember, this is where you put your code. I'm going to close CK. I'm going to make a second mod and call it ConsoleHelper. And that's where we'll actually put the main scripts. All right, let me go ahead and open up these in Visual Studio Code. So we'll go back to that player script that you had open. Okay, here we are, and I've got the player script open, which we were just looking at. So what are we going to do? And we'll see if we use that spell or not. Well, we can run some code when the mod starts up. So we'll say event on init and events. What are we going to do? We want to call this console helper thing, and we want to do some stuff. Well, let me open up the console again. So if you go into your Skyrim Special Edition, into your data folder, into interface, and open that up with Bethesda Archive Extractor, you'll find the console Swift file. I'm just going to extract this to like my downloads folder so I can take a closer look at it. I'm going to go to my downloads folder, and then there's this interface directory, and there's console Swift. I'm going to right click edit this with FFDEC. That's the JPEX decompiler. You can find that generally just by searching for Flash decompiler, and it's usually the first result that comes up. You can always say no to all when it asks you about the GFX font lid. It always opens on a separate screen for me, so let me bring it over. And yours won't show anything because it'll just show you like maybe nothing by default. But I want to go to sprites, and then that's one of these frames. There we go, the console movie. These are the different areas of this thing. It's got the top piece, which is called like currently selected or something. It's got this piece over there, which is the command history. So this is the current selection. You can see it right here. This is the command history. You can see that it takes up that space. And down here is the command entry. You can't see. Sorry, my finger. Whoop. Oh, the box kind of cuts off. I'm used to being big and taking up more space on the screen. The box cuts off right there. That's frustrating. So those three things. So let's just make it so that when the game boots up, we're going to put text in all three of those. We're going to open up the menu and put text in all three of them. That'll be fun. So how do we do that? Well, we need a console helper. So let's assume it exists. So because it doesn't exist, Visual Studio Code is going to have a lot of red underlines. So just ignore it. Console helper dot show or open console. I feel like it's known that it's the console, so we'll have open and close. So we'll open it and we'll say console helper dot, maybe we'll set the values before we open it so it opens up and we see the values that we put in there. Set header text, maybe that's what we'll call that. Set header text hello world ConsoleHelper dot set body text. I feel like we want two types of getters and setters. One that just treats that as the header, the body, and the text input and uses names like that. And then other ones that call it like selected reference ID, history, and I guess text input or prompt. Because you may just use this to put whatever you want in it, because this is your console. As a mod author, you do whatever you want with it. You can take it over essentially with this. But most people will actually use it to read and write from the history or something. So we'll do ConsoleHelper dot set text input or input text. The body will be hello, new line world, foo, bar, with some new lines in it. This input text will be hi there. Okay, now let's make this compile. So we need a console helper. So I made that console helper folder, and right now it's empty. I've got it right here, I think. Yep, here's console helper. I'm just going to make some scripts. I'm going to make a folder called scripts and a folder called source. But for you, what you can do is you can just go to open up Creation Kit, go to Gameplay, Papyrus Script Manager, right click in that box and say new script, and then call a script console helper. Let me know if you want me to show you how to do that. I mean, we've done that so many times. So when you open up Creation Kit, you don't even need to load up a mod. You just go right here to Gameplay, Papyrus Script Manager, right click, new, and you can just put like console helper, click OK, and then if you it won't show up immediately. Even if your filter says console, you'll need to tweak it, and then it'll show up. To do that, and then you can right click on it and say open an external editor. You can also right click on it and say compile. If it opens and then closes really quickly, it compiled successfully. If it doesn't, it'll say failed, and then it won't show any other output. So click on where it says failed, and then it shows the output. It's kind of annoying. But I'm just going to do this in Visual Studio Code. And in my source directory, I'm just going to say consolehelper.psc, script name consolehelper. I'm going to call this hidden so that it doesn't show up in the list where you can like attach scripts to objects and stuff. That's what hidden does, because that's not how people are going to use it. Utility for working with the Skyrim console menu. How about that? Now, here's all the things that we want to implement on it. There's something super loud outside. It's a truck or something. Let me sip my tea while I wait to see if it goes away. Okay, I think the truck drove away. It was a truck. So we may also want to do these things one at a time. Like we should just do open to start with. Let's go to my mod, and let's say we'll do open, and then we'll do set like header text. So let's start with open. It's like super easy, and you'll see why. We don't even call action script functions for that one. We just say function open global and function opens the Skyrim console menu. And for that one, we actually just hit the tilde key, but we want to make sure that someone didn't remap the tilde key. So we say input dot, what is it? Let me turn my SKSE completion on. Okay, now I can say input dot and it'll complete some stuff. Get mapped key says returns the key code bound to a controller for a given device. It even puts here the valid controls, which is sweet and awesome of them. You can even scroll it. I love Visual Studio Code. And ooh, there's one called console, and it returns an integer, which is the DX key code. So we can say console. Okay, so we'll say int open close console key equals, and then we're just gonna tap it. We're just gonna press it. Tap key. Ta-da! If I compile this, let's make sure it compiles okay. And then I'm gonna update this to point at the other one. Cool, this is no longer red because that actually exists. Make sure this one compiles, and it does. Ooh, no. Oh, this one doesn't have SKSE enabled, and it does need it to be. Cool, because the input requires SKSE. That input script that we used, input tap key, requires SKSE. So does the UI script, which we're going to use. I may as well show you how to get to those, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to boot up some Skyrim. So input script is right here. We're going to use it for some stuff. UI script, we're going to use a bunch. So here's the input script. You can do stuff like tap a key, hold a key, release a key, see if a key is pressed, which is really useful, and get mapped keys and things like that. UI is amazing because it allows you to interact with UIs like the console itself, and both of these require SKSE. Just the global functions, I guess, in this one do. Yeah, the entire thing does. And the input script has a good reference of all of the key codes. The UI script has a good reference of all of the menu names. So let's open this up in game. And we're in game. Let's just go to like Riverwood or somewhere. Console's open. It opened all by itself. Ta-da! Alright, cool. Now let's do some other stuff. Let's have it set the header text. So we'll make set header text work. So let's go to this other one. Here's the ConsoleHelper. Function set header text, string text, global, and function. And now the fun begins. The fun starts. Yay! Because here it's this thing up there, which is the current selection. That's what it's called. And in the code, you can change it. It's an object right here, and if I search this for current selection, we'll find some places where they set the text of it. So they set the text by default equal to nothing. Here's a place where they set the current selection. Ooh, set text color. Ooh, I don't want to forget to do that. Super don't want to forget to do that. And if I keep searching for this thing about positioning text fields and on resize, so we can get to it. And the way to get to it, if you didn't see the previous screencast, is a little bit weird if you haven't done it for the first time. We are going to use the UI script. The UI script lets you call ActionScript functions, that's the name of the functions within those Swift files, which are compiled Flash files, which are used by the UI. So that code that we were actually just looking at, this isn't raw code. This was figured out by this decompiler, which actually decompiles it into this first, the P code, which is essentially assembly language for Swift Flash, and then they use a really nice program, their program, to turn that into really nice looking code. So how do we do this? How do we set the header text? Well, we're going to say UI dot, and we're going to set a property. We're going to set the text of that current selection. So we say set. Now you can see a couple functions here. We can set string. Let's look at that one. Cool. You give it a menu name and a target and a value. So the menu name we can find here in the valid menu names list. And so we see here one of them is called console. So let's go ahead and use that for the menu name. Now there's a target. What in the world is a target? Well, it doesn't say much about it until you scroll way down to the bottom. It says the target parameter requires one of the following prefixes. So global or root. So I've been using global and it works for me. So what I do is I say like global dot, and then within the menu, which is the console, so within the Swift file, I say global dot the class from this, so like console, which is a class here, and then on that class I can call static functions, these things, like minimize and stuff like that, which we'll use. We'll use minimize. We probably won't actually use show. I haven't been able to get that one to work because tapping the key just works, and I can't call show while it's not open already. Maybe we'll try and get that working. So we say global dot this class, which is console, and then if I just look throughout here, most of the code says this. It says console.consoleinstance.blah. So if we look for that current selection, which is what we want to set, we're calling it header, in the code, and I look for current selection, like we were just doing, current selection dot, I'll see that down in the code, the way that they write it is they say console.consoleinstance.current_selection, and so that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna say console.consoleinstance.current_selection.text, because that's what we saw in the file. We're just taking what we see in the Swift file. It's not magic. So we say global, which is what the UI script documentation told us to do. Then the class from the Swift file, .console instance, which is a variable in there, which everybody seems to be using, .current selection, which is the name of the variable that we saw, .text, and now we're just going to set it equal to the text. Now we're actually going to make a helper function for generating this, because we're going to have something like these long lines all over the place. But for now, let's just see if it works. Okay, again, let's go in game, and we're expecting it to open up the console, and that top piece should have hello world if it worked, and it automatically should open up. Automatically opens up, and we get hello world. Ta-da! Now let's change the body text. So we want to uncomment the ConsoleHelper.setBodyText, and let's go put that, whoops, copy, in here. So function set body text, and we put to do. I'm not gonna spend time in the screencast adding documentation to these, but I will afterwards before I release it, because that's what shows up in the autocomplete, which you'll start to see. So set body text, that one, instead of being called current selection, if we go here, is called command history. So let's just switch current selection with command history. We'll do all three of them and then we'll refactor a little bit. So let's call this command history, save, build. Now this one should build. It does. Kind of want to give it a second so it starts to detect that. Cool, I just gave it a second. And now if I scroll over it, I can actually see docs. So that's where I'm going to put the documentation. So when people are typing, especially in Visual Studio Code, they'll be able to see the documentation, or if they browse the code. Cool. Let's try this in Skyrim. Go to Riverwood. It should automatically open. We're looking for like hello world, hi there. Doesn't show up. What's the deal with that? Now there's an annoying gotcha with that one, which is I don't think you can set it while the menu is closed. So let's open the menu first and then we'll set that body text. Fingers crossed. Ta-da! Hello world foo bar. That's what it was. Sweet. Now let's put some text in that command prompt area. And then we'll clean up some code a bit. So I may even mention here, I'll leave a note in the docs, can only be set when menu is open. I'll double check that. Can be set while menu is closed. I don't know why that would be different. So the other one is, what is it called? We called it set input text. Set input text. All right. Function set input text, or prompt text, or I don't know. We may rename some things. And we'll try doing it before we open, and then if we have to, we'll do it after we open. And that one is called command entry. I'm going to save, compile, and go in the game. And we'll take a look. Take a look. See. Take a little look, see. Look right here. Hey, it says hi there. Oh, but the body doesn't show up. Is that because we, did I move the body above, or the thingamajigger? Body's still below. Maybe body just really, really can't be run super easily initially. Like, what if I wait to open? What if I, open it like a moment later or something? Let's register for single update, like a second, it could be half a second, whatever. Event on update and event. Oops. I don't know, let me find out. Alright, well this is totally weird. I've got the header, the input, open, and then set the body. And mostly this hasn't been working for me. If it does, I might need to run it one or two more times. It's a little bit inconsistent. Mostly, maybe deterministically consistent. Mostly that doesn't work for me. But I made a change that is hacky but always seems to work. And there's a way to make it not so hacky. It's not working. But this seems to work. So I tried this. I was like, I don't know, set it twice. Good girl, puppy dog. You want to come up here? You want to come up here? You want to come around? You want to come up here? Now, this was working for me consistently. Let's see if it's the same deal now. I couldn't get this not to work. I ran it like 10 times. So here's what I might do. I might have us set it and then get it and see if the text that's there isn't equal what we want it to be. Then we'll set it again, and then we'll keep doing that. But maybe we'll have a timeout of like, we'll only do that 5 times maximum or something like that. So let's do this. I'm pretty sure I still can't do that before open, even if I do it like a bajillion times. I don't think it'll do anything before open, because I think open spits out a bunch of stuff when you do it, which is frustrating. It is frustrating because it would be nice to configure it before you open it. And I'm not sure offhand what's adding to it. Yeah, it just doesn't. It's all this nastiness. I don't know what that's coming from. Alright, so let's update our thingamajigger to we could say that if it's not shown, if it's not open, and you've set some body text, we can set it after you open it. That would be really nice and useful. Then we would need to store that text somewhere, and the way that we currently have things set up, I don't want to necessarily have any storage. I don't want to necessarily have to. I would love to not have an ESP associated with this. So for now, let's just update set body text to, like, we'll just document that you have to do it after open, although we could do it better and automatically set it when you open if you open through us, or even if you don't open through us, we can detect when the menu opens. So maybe we want to do that for the user. Let's just point out that, let's see, consider setting the body text in here on menu open. Cool, that's enough. But for right now, we'll just say we're going to set the body text, and then we're going to get it, and then we're going to see if it's correct or not. So we'll get it like so. Just switch get string to set string, or set string to get string. String text in console equals, let's see here, how about int attempts equals 5, string text in console equals empty string, while the text in console is not equal to the text that we were provided. We'll go ahead and get it at the start. Maybe it's already the same text, who knows? While it's not equal to the text, we'll increment the attempts. So we'll say attempts equals 0. So while it's not the same and attempts is less than max attempts, we'll just say 5 or something. Then we'll set it. And just for ourselves, let's say debug notification, setting body text attempt and attempts. Cool. Cool. And there'll be 5 because we're going 0 to 4. So that'll be 0, but whatever, that's fine. Let me look in game. So I cheated and I previewed it. Look really closely and I don't like it. Look really closely, really quickly, right there. It like flashed for a second. I think we saw the old text. Oh, and it's still making attempts. I wonder why the code isn't equal. Like maybe there's just a new line difference or something like that. So there's two things we can do. One, we could set the string first so that happens before the get, because we're wasting time getting it that we should be doing setting it immediately. What's interesting is, for me, this totally seems to work consistently if we just set it twice. I'd have to look at why the equality check doesn't seem to work when you set it and then get it. I really wouldn't be surprised if when you get it back there's like not a new line, and when we add it there is a new line or something like that. And we don't have a great string function to trim new lines and stuff. I mean, it shows up. I'm going to try this a couple more times. I just can't get it to break. Just can't get it to break. I'm clicking on things, so that's changing. Yeah, I just can't get that to break. So let's roll with it for right now. Let me make sure these things are in Git repositories. This is live now, by the way. And I put ConsoleHelper up on the GitHubs. So I'll keep pushing to that so that we can save while we go through. So let me close out all this stuff that's not the UI script and the input script. All right, so where are we at? What are we doing? So this seems to work. I kind of want to continue to hold off on anything that requires this to have an ESP. Or to have a dependency on something like storage util or J containers, because we could use those and not have an ESP, but we would have a dependency on one of those, because we could use those to store and access data without having an ESP, which would be really, really nice. So we'll see. Maybe we'll look into having like an adapter that, if you have one of those installed, we'll see. So we've got these. We should be able to get the body text, the input text, and the header text. But what else should we be able to do? There's so many things. We should be able to add commands to the history. We should be able to page up and page down this thing. We will be able to execute arbitrary commands, but only using custom console commands, which will make use of this. It has a custom Swift that it uses. So let's start to refactor some of this stuff. Let's say string function. We'll say ConsoleHelper dot get menu name. So that'll just return console. So we can use that here. String function. These things are called targets. So get gets the console menu name. String function. Say get console target. But then there's also get console instance target. And so this will return this, or just global console rather. Although we could say string suffix or something. if suffix I think strings can be turned to bools, and if they're empty they'll return false. But we will be testing that with this. So dot and suffix or extension or whatever. This will be kind of the same, or this will just return, let's see, string suffix equals, we'll say if suffix then we'll return get console target with console instance dot and the suffix. Otherwise we're just going to return get console target dot console instance. We're getting the console instance of the console, and I'll dock these things. Cool. String get current selection text. String set current selection text. String get current selection text. Global, I could type some of these out. I guess I don't need you here for them. Let me type out a bunch of these getters and setters, and then we'll pick something fun to do next. There's like a ghost dog. There's a dog sort of there standing. She's standing and begging, but you can't see her because of that green screen. Hello, puppy dog. Good girl. You don't want me to code? I think she wants dinner. There, you can actually see the puppy. Come here, baby. Huh? Or hide. Okay. Hide. Fine. I'm still patting a dog behind me. There's a dog hiding behind me. Alright, so here's some of the code. It's hard to look at the code, so let me look at the function list here. Let's make that a little bit bigger, and let's collapse it. Cool. These are all the functions I've added so far. Get body text and get input text and get header text are all like really aliases for things. So input text is really called command entry, body is really called command history, header is really called current selection text. So I added getters and setters for all of those. You use UI.getString and setString a lot, both for the console and the console.console instance. So I made getters and setters for those. That's kind of dangerous to add because it means I'll want to add get bool, get float, get int, set bool, set float, set int. I'll need like 3, 6. I need a lot more methods, but that's okay. And I've got to get menu name, and you can get the target name. These are kind of for more internal usage. These are somewhat for internal usage, and everybody is expected to really use these getters and setters. So I could code a bunch of this stuff with or without you. I wrote down some things, and let's pick things that are fun to do in this episode, because how long have we been going? I accidentally messed up the end of one of these, so 4 minutes, 27 minutes, plus 37 minutes, 43 minutes-ish is where we should be. So let's only go to like an hour or so. It's already past the point where most people won't click on this episode. So I think under 30 minutes is what I normally try and shoot for, but this is like a fun one. So let's do color text and color size because I think that's fun. And let's also first just print to the console because most people are just going to want to use this to like say ConsoleHelper.print. So let's add that real fast. So after you open it, let's say ConsoleHelper.print. Hello world. We printed this. Save. And I'll do one with a new line. There comes a new line. There it was. Cool. Now let's head on over to this. Let's make a print one. See, way down at the bottom I've got open. Let's add print down here. Function print string text global and function. And this is actually an alias for something. This is an alias for add history. So we'll make a function called add history string text. And now this will actually invoke a function on the instance called add history. It's right here. It does a number of things for us, dealing with the history, buffer size of characters and things like that. So we would definitely love to use it. So we will use it. So let's do this. Let's do it right. We're going to invoke a method on, was that an instance method? Add history is a static method. Okay, so we need to invoke console or something. Just invoke function. Just call it invoke. Something like that. I don't know. Up here we have get target. We've got get string, set string. Get instance string, set instance string. Let's do string function. That dog has got to shut up. I'm just looking at what it would look like. If we had a string version, because we'll need ones for bool, etc., etc., etc. if we provide these helpers, which we don't necessarily need to. Let's invoke instance string. I don't love it. So let's invoke instance invoke. What do you like? Invoke on instance. Will it be invoke instance string? Yeah, sure. Let's do. And these don't return anything. We'll do invoke instance at some point. We don't need to make it right now, and we'll just do invoke. This dog and cars. For God's sake. UI.invoke, get menu name, and then the target is called add history, and it's a static one. So I say get target, so let's get console target. Just call it get target. I'll figure that out over time. The target is called add history. Oh, it's whatever the string is that we're invoking. That is a function name. So down here, for printing, we'll say invoke. We actually need to invoke string because we need to pass it something. And it's called add history, and we give it text. String, function name, string stir, invoke string stir, and this is just called add history. Okay, cool. Let's try it in game. Okay, so we're supposed to see like hello world or something, and then like something about a new line. Hello world, we printed this. Here comes a new line. There it was. We need to add our own new lines. Do we want to make it possible to add history without a new line? Add history. How about add history line? To the text plus a new line. It'll call add history with the text plus a new line. And this one will actually call add history line. Cool. Okay, hopefully this works, because then we can do colors. I want to do colors. Super duper want to do colors. Cool. Hello world, we printed this. Here comes a new line. There it was. Okay, that looks way better. So let's do colors. You can set the colors of things individually. So let's set, like, I don't know, the header text color. Why not? Figure out how to do that. So let's say, it's still red just because it doesn't know. It's not great at working at two mods at the same time. I bet if I hover over it now. ConsoleHelper dot. We can set the color before we even show stuff. Set header text color to. Let's grab a color. I have no idea if it's going to be decimal, hexadecimal, if it needs to be that's a cute one, or whatever. Let's copy that hexadecimal, like whether it needs a hash or not. Let's say that we want it, so set header text color. Somewhere we have like set header string and stuff, set header text, get header text. So let's say set header text color. We might want like a reset, reset header text color. I don't like get people with barking dogs. I've had a barking dog before, and I was a very anxious person, and I think that's why. I've had 4 dogs. Currently have my 4th. She's amazing. Never, ever, ever, ever barks. So why would she bark? Why would a dog bark? They gotta calm down, you know? Alright, set header text color. We'll probably have this delegate to like set current selection text color, but let's do that later. Let's just set it ourselves. Set the text color. How the hell do we set the text color? Set size. I just had this open. Set text color. Okay, cool, you set the dot text color of something equal to something. Cool, let's try that. So dot text color. Instead of setting the current selection text, we'll set its text color. String text color with hash to make it really clear to our callers. Let's find out. No idea if that'll work. Nothing happened when I had this before the open, but I put it after the open. I also tried changing it to red just to see if there would be any difference, and what happens when I launch the game is, this is kind of interesting, because something changes. It's just not what we want, and I've got an idea how to get what we want. It's hard to do all of this in the on init. So wait for this to load. See hello world. It's hard to see because it's in black. And now if I close the terminal and I open it back up, it goes back to white. So here's what I'm going to do. Instead of doing this on init, let's just track when someone hits a button. And we'll set the color whenever you click the X button, including when you're typing text in the console. So we'll say, dog is eating a treat. We'll say register for key. And let's go get the X key. Where's the X key? See, it's on the third row. It should be right here, 45. And then event on key down into key code, but we know it's 45. Otherwise we wouldn't get it. We'll just say this. And I think that's it. Let's try it. Oops, I opened up Vortex by accident. Yeah, Vortex, we don't need you. Apply changes. Quit. Alright, we didn't set the color initially. Let's try setting X now. Oh, it goes black. That was interesting. Totally worked. I wonder if we're setting the colors wrong. Let me try decimal or something. Actually, let me try a name like red. Oh my god, y'all check it out. Oh my god, y'all check it out. Alright, so the dog is drinking water behind me. Good girl, babe. Press X. Oh, what? Here's how I did it. I did hex with the 0x prefix as a string. So I did this. And maybe we could support red, blue, green, or something like that in ours. We could totally do that. We could probably look online and find the names of like 100 common colors and support them or something, or just a dozen, to make it really easy for people so that they can just say red. Because I've got red here, but that totally didn't work. It was this that worked for me. So let me double check that. Yo, y'all, never mind. Maybe it was the red. I wonder if both of them work, or if only red works. Oh, never mind. I tried both versions. Only this worked. Red didn't. Also note that it seems to only work after open. Let me make sure that it works like right after open. I tried to do it like before anything else. It might just need to run after the text is set. Maybe setting the text breaks it, but I don't think so. So this is going to set it right after open. We're not using the X press. Oh. Maybe again that's like too soon. Let's try the technique that we tried before, which is just like set it twice. So after open, let's try that. I don't think it's gonna work. I think it needs to be set like a moment afterwards, which is gonna be tricky for some users, especially because when the console opens, a lot of timers like on updates totally don't run and don't work. But things like keyboard events totally work fine. Glad people are yelling outside. That helps my screen test. Whoa, we said it twice. That is so wicked bizarre. If we get rid of one of them, that's so crazy and whatever if it helps us do it. I wonder if you can do it before the open. I bet you can't. But it still has to be after open. Alright, so we switched back to 1 and it went back to white. So now let's try it twice, but let's try it before open. God, now my refrigerator's running and some dude is just yelling nonsense outside. And there's a bus. God, screencasting in a city can freaking rather bite me. Skyrim modding, on the other hand, is just wicked fun. Cool, if it's before open, nope. Just totes doesn't work. But doing it twice after open probably works consistently. Wicked weird. Programming can be weird sometimes. Stuff like this happens. Red. Cool. How is it if we close it and open it? Cool. But we can hook into when it opens, so if someone wants to always make it red, then all that person needs to do is just simply register for menu, console, event on menu open, and event. We know it's the console. This takes string menu name, but we know it's the console. And let's try this once. We'll still try it the 2 times. Yeah, no, let's not even try it at all here. We'll just try it when the menu opens. So that means let's set our registration earlier. So it might actually catch the first open, which we do immediately. That'd be interesting. And that could be a way to set the body text too. It's red, let's close it, let's open it. It's red, let's close it, let's open it. It's red. Cool. Cool, 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 cool. And the body text, I bet if you set it right after the menu opens, it totally works as well without having to be run twice. If we could just give people that heads up. Let's see, body text, body text, body text. It's right here. Let's comment out the second one. And now if we rerun, that body text that we have is totally going to go back to not working. Let's compile both the helper and the my mod. Run it in Skyrim. We should see all that nonsense in the terminal, in the console. You're gonna get all that nonsense, even though we try and set the body. It's just going to be a bunch of gibberish. There's a bunch of that. We get our print, which is nice, but we don't get what we tried to set in the body. Now, if we do that, and we can tell our users, hey, like the way to do this is really to do this stuff in your menu open. So that's just like, hey, that's the way to work with this. that's our documentation. That's how you're supposed to work with the console. Just BT tabs. Then let's see what happens. It's gonna hit that first time. Haha. Let's close it. Let's open it. Haha. We can put some stuff in here. I should make a print command. Gibberish, gibberish, gibberish. Let's close it. Open it. It actually overwrites the text, and it's so fast that you can't like see it or anything as a user. Freaking dope. Dope, 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 dope. I love it. I really love it. How long have we been recording? Really long now. Alright, we did colors. I kind of wanted to show you the text size, and you can change the height and width of this thing. I don't think you want to hang out for watching all that, but I don't know, let me know in the comments below if you're like bummed that I'm not going to show you how to do the height and width of that box. We're going to look at seeing if we can set the background color of it. Let me make sure that I make a note on that. Set background color as well. Here's all the things that I want to do at the moment. It's a lot of things about dealing with the up-down history. I got a lot to do. I got a lot on my plate. I really want to get this out. I think it's going to be really, really helpful. Well, I don't really care because it's going to be really helpful to me. So, I mean, I do care, but I am going to update custom console commands with a custom Swift. Ooh, I wonder if my voice is out of sync. I might have to edit this, which, whatever, will be fine. I'll fix the timing. Yeah. It's late. Sorry, I'm kind of tired. This was fun. Go check out that Twitch. That Twitch stream was really, really fun. I'll show you the link again here. If you go to Skyrim scripting and you just go to the playlist for the custom console commands, should be behind me. So go small. You heard the music, sorry. Right here. There. Go watch that one. That's really fun. I'm so tired that I ran the music already. The music is just telling me to finish. So I'm going to say what I always say. Happy modding, everyone. And happy modding. I gotta sleep. Happy modding.